I didn't have anything against Oprah.
You just called her a
I'm going to tell you why.
You named your dog Oprah, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
I don't think anything's going to come up, Pat, because all these people are all connected. Judges,
that's
politicians.
The Diddy thing, too.
The recent leak of documents by Attorney General Pam Bondi has sent shockwaves across the globe, igniting a firestorm of speculation and conspiracy theories. Everyone's talking, and why wouldn't they be? This wasn't just any ordinary document dump. It was a supposed peek into the shadowy, high-profile world of Jeffrey Epstein, the man whose name alone has become synonymous with scandal. And this time, it's not just the usual suspects being whispered about. The name Oprah Winfrey has entered the fray, and people are losing their minds over what this could mean. Could one of the most powerful and beloved media mogul of all time be caught up in this mess? Let's dig in.
There's footage of them, and the fact that it's not going to see the light of day shows you how powerful these people are. The phone calls that are being made saying, don't you guys dare put that shit out, because guess what? Your friend, your brother, your whatever, we have footage of them.
To set the scene, Attorney General Pam Bondi had been teasing this release for days. She hyped it up like it was going to be the event of the year, dropping cryptic comments on primetime television and hinting that big names were involved. When the documents finally made their way to the public, they were labeled as the Epstein files. Phase 1, immediately sparking curiosity and outrage in equal measure. But here's the catch. Much of the content was already known to the public. Old flight logs, redacted address books, and heavily blacked out lists of so-called evidence. So what's the big deal? Well, buried within this mountain of paperwork was a single bombshell detail. Oprah Winfrey's name appeared, and that was all it took for the internet to implode.
There's a number of things that could be redacted. The first thing that you're going to be thinking about is confidential information as to survivors' names, addresses, and other identifiers. Redactions can be as specific as that, or they can be generalized. And you're usually either working under some type of confidentiality agreement, some type of statute, some type of code.
Of course, the mention of her name didn't come with any concrete evidence of wrongdoing. But let's face it, the court of public opinion doesn't wait for proof. All it takes is a whisper, and suddenly everyone is a detective. Social media platforms exploded with unverified claims, wild theories, and outright fabrications. Posts on platforms like X and Facebook asked loaded questions like, "What's your reaction to Oprah being on the Epstein list?" The wording alone was enough to fuel the flames, despite the lack of any solid connection between Winfrey and Epstein's illicit activities. And yet, the mere association was enough to shake the foundations of her carefully curated public image.
This is Jeffrey Epstein, multimillionaire, hedge fund manager, businessman with famous, powerful friends, and also convicted offender.
Pam Bondi's role in all of this cannot be understated. She positioned herself as a crusader for transparency, claiming that the public had a right to know the truth about Epstein's network. But was she really delivering on that promise? Or was she playing into the hands of conspiracy theorists hungry for fresh fodder? Critics were quick to pounce on the lack of substance in the initial document release, with some calling it a nothing burger, and others accusing Bondi of sensationalizing old information. Even within conservative circles, where Bondi had been a rising star, there was palpable disappointment. Influential voices like Laura Loomer and Anna Paulina Luna openly criticized her for failing to deliver the unredacted, explosive revelations that so many had been hoping for.
I want to get into this Epstein thing a little bit. I think the American people are very curious about who's on this list, or these lists. You have been doggedly trying to get all the information, and now we learn, thanks to you, that you've been stonewalled by people in New York. Do you want to explain that?
But let's get back to Oprah. The mere mention of her name in these documents has opened a Pandora's box of speculation. Questions are swirling. What was her connection to Epstein? Did they ever meet? And if so, under what circumstances? While no verifiable evidence has surfaced to implicate her in any criminal activity, the public's fascination with high-profile scandals means that her name alone is enough to keep the rumor mill churning. Some have pointed to her past associations with other controversial figures like Harvey Weinstein as supposed proof of a pattern. Others have dredged up old interviews and out-of-context quotes, looking for anything that could be spun into a narrative of complicity. It's a tangled web, and Oprah's silence on the matter has only added fuel to the fire.
The list mentions around 150 people, including politicians, celebrities, friends, business associates, and alleged victims.
The reactions from the entertainment industry have been mixed, to say the least. Some celebrities have rushed to her defense, pointing out the absurdity of condemning someone based on nothing more than a name in a document. Others have remained conspicuously silent, perhaps wary of wading into a controversy that could easily backfire. Meanwhile, social media influencers and YouTube commentators have seized the opportunity to capitalize on the drama, churning out videos and posts dissecting every scrap of information or misinformation they can find. It's chaos, and everyone seems to have an opinion.
Yes, Mark. So as you know, we released about 120 pages of documents, and I started asking for these documents right when I came into office and before Kash Patel was in there.
And then there's the backlash against Pam Bondi herself. While she may have thought this document release would cement her reputation as a champion of transparency, it's quickly turned into a PR nightmare. Critics have accused her of using the Epstein case as a political stunt, more concerned with grabbing headlines than actually uncovering the truth. Even within the FBI, there are whispers of frustration over her handling of the situation. Some insiders have claimed that Bondi's decision to release the documents without proper context or explanation has done more harm than good, muddying the waters and making it harder to separate fact from fiction.
So I ended up getting about 120 pages. We carefully redacted them, of course, to be sure the 254 young girls, women who are victims of sex crimes and sex trafficking, their personal information was redacted and out of there to protect them.
But here's where things get really interesting. Some are now suggesting that Bondi herself may have faced interference from powerful forces trying to suppress the full extent of the Epstein files. Could it be that the incomplete nature of the release was not a mistake, but a calculated move to protect certain individuals? It's a tantalizing theory, and one that's only adding to the sense of intrigue surrounding this case. After all, Epstein's network was known to include some of the most influential people in the world: politicians, business leaders, entertainers. Is it really so far-fetched to think that some of them might still be pulling strings to keep their names out of the spotlight?
So I'm going through it and I kept saying, there has to be more, there has to be more. I'm assured that's it. Kash asked the same questions. Assured there's no more. I found out, this week that a source told me New York, SDNY, they're sitting on thousands of pages of documents regarding Epstein. Thousands.
As the dust settles from this initial release, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. The public is demanding answers, and the pressure is mounting for Bondi to deliver on her promises of transparency. Will we see more names revealed in the next phase of the document dump? And if so, what will that mean for the individuals involved and for Bondi herself? The stakes couldn't be higher, and the drama is only just beginning. The end of this section leaves us with a burning question. How did Oprah Winfrey's name end up in these documents, and what does it mean for her legacy? Is this a case of guilt by association, or is there more to the story than meets the eye? As we dive deeper into her past scandals and controversies, we'll explore the complex web of relationships and events that have shaped her career and the public's perception of her.
Forced. He didn't just bounce. He was forced to retire because they accused him, Pam Bondi and all them, because he's hiding thousands of Why would this guy, an FBI agent, because mind you, Kash Patel's in. I think there's a misconception, Jillian, that people think that all the people that are in all of a sudden switched and now they're pro-Trump and they're pro this agenda, and that's not the case.
So with Oprah Winfrey's name swirling in the storm of speculation, it's impossible not to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. How did this powerhouse of daytime television, philanthropy, and self-made success become entangled in a narrative that has her linked to one of the most notorious and controversial figures of our time? To fully understand the gravity of the current situation, we've got to dive deeper into Oprah's past, a past that, for all its accolades and achievements, is not without its fair share of controversies and eyebrow-raising connections. So buckle up, because this rabbit hole is about to get even deeper.
People are still in charge and they're still protecting each other. And James Comey's daughter, guys, you guys all remember who James Comey is, the Trump-hating, Hillary Clinton covering-up guy. His daughter is the assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, where all these documents are. So as much as these people are promising us, I still, Vincent Oshana, don't think it's...
First, let's talk about the scandals that have followed Oprah throughout her career, some of which have only grown louder with time. One of the most talked about headlines involves her association with Harvey Weinstein, the disgraced Hollywood producer, whose name has become shorthand for abuse of power in the entertainment industry. Over the years, Oprah has been photographed alongside Weinstein at various events, smiling and appearing friendly. While these images might seem innocuous on their own, after all, it's Hollywood, and networking is the name of the game. They've been re-examined under the harsh light of public scrutiny. Critics have questioned whether Oprah, one of the most influential women in media, knew about Weinstein's actions and chose to look the other way. It's a claim she's denied, but the internet, as we all know, has a long memory and an even longer appetite for controversy.
Tell her.
I would say, Oprah Winfrey, you know what you need to do, and stop hiding behind what you call was negative comments.
However, some critics argue that Oprah's ties to Weinstein were more than just superficial Hollywood networking. They point to her infamous Golden Globe speech in 2018, where she passionately championed the Me Too movement and called out systemic abuse in the entertainment industry. While the speech earned her a standing ovation and even sparked calls for her to run for president, skeptics couldn't help but notice the irony. How could someone so vocal about empowering women fail to acknowledge her past proximity to one of the movement's biggest offenders? Detractors claim this selective outrage is part of a broader pattern where Oprah aligns herself with social causes only when it's convenient or beneficial to her brand.
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do.
Digging deeper, some have even revisited Oprah's role in championing certain individuals who later fell from grace. Take Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, both of whom were launched into superstardom through Oprah's platform. While they initially gained fame as trusted experts, both have since faced significant backlash for promoting questionable practices and ideas. Critics argue that Oprah's stamp of approval comes with a dangerous lack of accountability, allowing her to elevate people who may not always act in the public's best interest. While these connections aren't as explosive as her ties to Weinstein, they add to the growing narrative that Oprah's judgment isn't as flawless as her image might suggest.
You get tired. I hear people go, you work a lot. Yeah. Well, have to. The math ain't mathin'.
And let's not overlook the controversy surrounding her Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, which was meant to be one of her crowning achievements. Just months after the school opened its doors, allegations of mistreatment by staff began to surface, leading to a high-profile trial that cast a shadow over the entire initiative. Though Oprah was not directly implicated, the incident raised questions about her ability to oversee such a significant project. Some saw it as a rare misstep from a woman who has built her empire on the promise of empowerment and education. Even now, critics bring up the scandal as proof that not all of Oprah's ventures are as polished as they seem.
When it's time to renegotiate, I'm at the bottom again like I never did what I just did, and I'm just tired. I'm tired. I'm tired.
Seal, the British musician, once called her out in a scathing social media post, sharing a meme of Oprah and Weinstein together with the caption, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." Seal didn't mince words, accusing Oprah of knowing about Weinstein's behavior for years while remaining silent. Oprah, for her part, responded to the Weinstein scandal by expressing her disgust and distancing herself from him, but the damage had already been done. The images, the accusations, they all left a stain on her otherwise pristine reputation. And then there's the bizarre and unsettling connection to João Teixeira de Faria, better known as John of God. Oprah once featured him on her show, praising him as a spiritual healer and even traveling to Brazil to interview him. At the time, he was hailed as a miracle worker, a man whose unconventional methods were said to cure everything from emotional trauma to physical ailments. But fast forward a few years and the narrative took a dark turn. John of God was accused of horrifying acts by hundreds of women, leading to his arrest and conviction. While Oprah quickly distanced herself from him, issuing a statement of sympathy for the victims and asserting that she had no prior knowledge of his actions, critics were quick to point out the optics. How could someone as savvy and connected as Oprah not have seen the red flags? It's a question that continues to linger.
And if I can't fight for them coming up behind me, then what the f*** am I doing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, don't apologize. Don't apologize.
Of course, Oprah's public image hasn't just been challenged by her associations. Her feuds with other celebrities have also contributed to her complicated legacy. Take her long-standing conflict with Monique, the actress and comedian who won an Academy Award for her role in the Oprah-backed film Precious. What should have been a career-defining moment for Monique quickly turned sour when she accused Oprah, along with Tyler Perry and Lee Daniels, of blackballing her in Hollywood. According to Monique, the trouble started when she refused to promote Precious for free, prioritizing her family over the grueling awards campaign schedule. What followed was a very public falling out, with Monique claiming that Oprah and her peers labeled her as difficult and effectively shut her out of the industry.
You have bullies in this business, and the bullies are so used to being bullies, they don't understand when somebody bite back.
Right.
Not bark back, they bite back.
Right.
Monique didn't hold back, even accusing Oprah of betraying her trust in a deeply personal way. She recalled how Oprah invited her onto her talk show under the guise of discussing her career, only to ambush her with a segment involving her estranged family, including a brother who had admitted to harming her when they were young. Monique described the experience as a gut punch, a moment that left her feeling blindsided and betrayed. To this day, Monique has not reconciled with Oprah, despite patching things up with Lee Daniels. The feud remains a glaring blemish on Oprah's otherwise impeccable professional relationships.
Let that be a lesson to all the bullies. May it be in comedy, may it be in wherever. You never know who you step into.
And let's not forget 50 Cent, the rapper who once considered Oprah an enemy. He openly criticized her for what he saw as her disdain for hip-hop culture and the way she condemned his lyrics. At one point, 50 Cent even named his dog Oprah as a jab at her. Though the two eventually buried the hatchet, their feud remains a prime example of how Oprah's actions and opinions have, at times, alienated her from certain corners of the entertainment world.
You have a couple of pets as well, a dog and a cat with interesting names, to say the least.
Yeah. That's Oprah.
That's Oprah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But perhaps the most unsettling accusations involve claims that Oprah has used her influence to suppress stories and protect her image. These rumors gained traction when Rose McGowan, one of the most vocal voices in the Me Too movement, accused Oprah of being fake and complicit in maintaining the power structures that enable bad behavior in Hollywood. McGowan's comments were accompanied by a now infamous photograph of Oprah kissing Weinstein on the cheek, a visual that has become a lightning rod for criticism. And let's not gloss over the wild conspiracy theories that have dogged Oprah in recent years. One particularly outlandish claim suggested that her home had been raided in connection to a trafficking investigation, a rumor that Oprah swiftly and emphatically denied. While there's no evidence to support such claims, their very existence speaks to the polarizing nature of her public persona. For every fan who sees Oprah as a beacon of hope and inspiration, there's a skeptic who questions her motives and her alliances.
I would have to say that it's unlikely. It's unlikely because what that means is that there's going to be an untold number of systems and institutions and powerful people that are going to be disrupted and are going to be, for a figurative term, dethroned.
So, where does all of this leave us in the context of the Epstein list? The mention of Oprah's name in the leaked documents has reignited all of these past controversies, creating a perfect storm of speculation and doubt. While there's no concrete evidence linking her to Epstein's activities, the cumulative weight of her past associations and scandals makes it easier for people to believe the worst. It's a classic case of guilt by association, amplified by the internet's insatiable appetite for scandal. As we look ahead, the question remains, how will Oprah respond to this latest wave of rumors? Will she address the accusations head-on, as she has in the past, or will she choose to remain silent, hoping the storm will pass? And perhaps, more importantly, what does this mean for her legacy? Is Oprah Winfrey, the queen of daytime television and a symbol of self-made success, at risk of being dethroned by the very forces she once mastered? One thing is certain. The public's fascination with this story is far from over. The leaked documents may have been a dude in terms of new revelations, but the fallout has been anything but dull. As more names are inevitably revealed and more questions are raised, the spotlight will continue to shine on those already caught in its glare. And for Oprah, that glare is brighter and harsher than ever. Will she emerge unscathed, or is this the beginning of the end for one of the most iconic figures in modern media? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more updates as we continue to follow this unfolding story.